You guys look pretty hot.
Don't breathe that.
Yeah.
Got some pretty good numbers for consumers.
That's right.
Down considerably.
Yeah, it's really about the best CPI report we've seen in 6 years. There were, I think it was 67 Bloomberg economists that forecasted what it would be, and it beat expectation for all 67 of them. And I think the reason is that not only did energy prices go down a lot, which is something that people expected, but there are so many signs of the success of President Trump's policies. So, for example, we got a big decline in drug prices. We got a big decline in car insurance costs because we've increased the rule of law. It's no longer the case that people are rioting in our cities everywhere and stealing the cars. And so going thing by thing, there's so much good news in this report that we could go on forever. Tomatoes are down 10% in month over month, so you should go home and have a nice salad when you get home.
The history of the blockade of our imports was back into effect. Do you see that impacting consumer spending or the price of pay here?
The fact is that the Navy has made an enormous amount of progress at helping our friendly ships get through the Gulf. And if you look at the day-to-day traffic, then there's a heck of a lot of fossil fuel, of oil, making it out and making it to refineries in Asia and Europe and elsewhere. And so I know that a lot of people who have been surprised in the past at why didn't oil prices go up by so much more during the conflict. Now we're even more secure in the Gulf because of all the actions that our military has taken. And so we're confident that we're going to continue to be able to get oil out of the Gulf in a way that's calming for markets. Yeah. Excuse me? The stock market has been going up and up and up. And the reason is that profits have been doing very, very well. And optimism about the future is the highest it's ever been because people believe President Trump when he says the golden age is upon us. The reason that profits are up in a lot of places is because artificial intelligence is helping firms run their businesses better. And that helps both workers and firms. And a measure of that was in today's Consumer Price Index, where we saw that real wages for workers were up 0.8% just on the month alone, which, again, is an almost record positive month for real wages for workers. I'll come over this way next. Next month for CPI. Well, the momentum in the core, core was down a little bit. Year-over-year core is 2.6% is almost the Fed target. And that's happening not just because of energy prices, but because of all of the Trump policies that are putting downward pressure on prices. And so that is something that we have high confidence will continue. What happens with energy prices will depend on obviously what happens over the next month. But we are able to get ships out of the Gulf in a way that's much safer than it was at the beginning of the conflict.
Yeah. The president said yesterday he's interested in a 20% dividend or payment for ships transiting through with the protection of the U.S. Navy in the Strait of Hormuz. How would that work? How quickly would that go into trade? Do you have any sense of who would collect that money? Would it go to the Treasury Department?
I haven't gone through the details of how that would work, but it's obvious to the president that the U.S. is investing an enormous amount of money in helping world commerce by making sure that things can make it through the straits. And as you look, within the U.S., we're an enormous oil producer, and with the waiver of the Jones Act, we've been moving our own oil to the West Coast and everywhere else, reducing imports of refined product and unrefined product by almost $100 billion. And so the U.S. is really taking a big price, paying a big price, both to protect us against the Iranians having a nuclear weapon, but also to get the oil out of the Gulf so that we don't have massive economic disruption around the world. The disproportionate beneficiaries of all that are the Europeans and the Asians, and they're not really bearing the cost. And so President Trump has been looking into ways to help them share the cost more, and this is one idea.
As you know, Prime Minister of Iraq is here. You will meet President Trump. What is your policy toward Iran, and especially about the bank system?
Well, I think that's something that President Trump will be talking about with the Prime Minister today. So I'm sure they'll have plenty to report, and I expect they'll do a news conference after. We respect the independence of the Fed, especially now that Kevin Warsh is there. He's taken a lot of steps. You see, he appointed an advisory board filled with some of the greatest minds on earth. And so we have high regard for their ability to watch the data and decide what to do. But boy, when they look at the data today, they're going to think, geez, things are really moving in the right direction. I got time for one last question. Yes. That's something that I've not been briefed on exactly how the fees are going to be charged. But the principle that the U.S. is bearing a very, very high cost to protect basically the welfare of a lot of other countries, and that they should help share the cost of that is something I think we would all agree to. So thank you guys very much.
Kevin Hassett steps up to the microphones and delivers a very upbeat take on today's CPI numbers. He calls it one of the best reports in 6 years, beating forecasts from all 67 Bloomberg economists. Energy prices fell sharply, which helped, along with drops in drug prices and car insurance costs. He ties the improvements to Trump administration policies, stronger rule of law, calmer cities, and better security for shipping in the Gulf. He even jokes about tomatoes being down 10% and suggests making a salad. On the markets, Hassett points to rising profits, high optimism, and AI helping businesses. Real wages rose a solid 0.8% in the month. Core inflation is trending toward the Fed's target. He also fields questions about potential fees on ships using U.S. Navy protection in the Gulf. The idea is that America carries a big part of the cost for keeping those routes open, and other countries benefiting should help share the burden. Hassett says he respects the Fed's independence under Kevin Warsh and expects them to study the strong data. Overall, it's a confident briefing from the National Economic Council director, painting a positive picture of where the economy stands right now. Whether this momentum holds will be the real test in the months ahead.